Hey, shalom, Akim, shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rachakudash. I would like to give double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that's so teaching this truth. And as always, much peace, love, and salutation to the elect, beginning with the 144,000, all the way down to the large multitude that believes and who the Lord will deliver in these last days. To you all I say shalom. I'm the brother Tazamah from the Great Millstone Dallas camp, coming back today with another lesson. And I pray that this lesson is edifying to the elect. And I want to do a lesson based on this article that you see here on the screen. As you see, this is from Politico.com, and I want to say this article was dated just 1 day ago, or no, actually 1 month ago. But it's been something that's been recent in the news, going back into, the election of President Donald J. Trump. As we know, he's going to be, supposed to be, I'd rather say, president. And he's going to be inaugurated in January, And one thing that he's been saying, and he's actually been saying this for a while now. He actually mentioned this back during his last presidency. But the law, the title reads, it says, "The law is not airtight. Trump may have a way out of NATO." All right, let's read that again. It says the law is not airtight. Trump may have a way out of NATO. All right, and NATO, as well as the EU, is very, very is a very, very key piece. All right, in biblical prophecy, according to what will be happening in the last days and who will be ruling in the last days. All right, because NATO, all right, which is an acronym short for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, all right, is that beast system written about in the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter, Revelation, the 13th chapter, Revelation 17, and as well as the EU. Now, if Donald Trump decides to pull out of NATO, all right, that would pretty much leave America isolated. All right, now it is soon to be seen, but with a title like that, it automatically made me think of Revelation, the 17th chapter. All right, let's get Revelation chapter 17, start at verse 15. All right, it says, "And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, which where the whore sitteth," and that whore is talking about America. All right, that whore that's riding upon the beast and controlling the beast is America. That's why a lot of these different NATO nations and these EU nations really don't make a move without America say so. All right, you have something called the United Nations Security Council. All right, which the United Nations Security Council, you have 5 prominent members of the United Nations Security Council. You have America, the United States, you have Russia, you have China, you have France, and you have Great Britain. And I want to say that there's not an honorary member, but I want to say that there's one more member as well. They call it like a +1, if I'm not mistaken, and I believe it's Germany. You see, but even when it comes to France, which is a NATO nation, Great Britain's a NATO nation, Turkey's a NATO nation, but they've been on the fence. They really don't make moves unless they get the green light from America. But you have a lot of these nations that are pretty much getting sick and tired of America, pretty much bullying the world, man. And that's the prophecy where it states, "Let the weak say that I am strong." All right, in the prophecy written in Joel. Okay, this is back in Revelation 17, verse 15. It says, "And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues." Okay, that's why America is also known as the great melting pot, because you have all various different kinds of people from various different nations that are here in America. All right, but you also do too. All right, have a lot of nations that are actually going back. All right, they're actually going back to, their home nations. And I want to say that's written in Isaiah, the 13th chapter. It's also written in the book of Jeremiah as well too. Well, let's continue. Verse 16, it says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast," which the 10 horns represent the EU. Okay, so it says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore." Okay, they're going to hate the whore. They're going to hate America, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Okay, so according to biblical prophecy, something is going to happen and take place, whereas America is going to be completely isolated. The only ally that America is going to have is going to be Israel. All right, the state of Israel. All right, and the state of Israel is also going to be completely isolated. Okay, and you're also going to have America's own allies, who were once allies with America, eventually turn on this place. Okay, that's what Yahweh Bashim Shai has set up for this place, for complete destruction. All right, and you see all these various different events happening in the Middle East, which is really not the Middle East. It's really it's really Western Asia. But you have all these various different events that are happening, in that region of the world, which is the Levant region, which Yahweh Bashim Shai stated that he will gather all nations together in the valley of Jehoshaphat, which in the Hebrew is pronounced Yahweh Shaphat, which means Yahweh's judgment. Okay? Verse 17, it says, "For the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will." You see that? It's all according to the will of Yahweh Bashim Shai. It's all set up to fulfill his will. Okay? So it says, "For the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree." You see? They're all going to agree. And remember, the scripture says what? That the king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh Bashim Shai, as the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. You see, there's never nobody on the planet Earth, whether it be kings, whether it be counselors, whether it be congressmen, people, regular everyday common folk, if you will, that are not walking according to the tune of Yahweh Bashim Shai, according to whatever he wants you to do. Man's goings are of the Lord, right? It says, "And give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh Bashim Shai shall be fulfilled." You see that? And we're coming to the point where the words of Yahweh Bashim Shai are getting ready to be fulfilled. Okay? We're at that point. Okay, there's only a few more prophecies left. The mandatory implementation of the MOTB. Pretty much all hell to break loose here in these streets, martial law, various different kinds of plagues and pestilence and judgments. Then eventually it's going to lead to World War III. These are the last few. These are the last prophecies, and then of course, ultimately, it's gonna prompt the return of Yahushua. Excuse me. But let's go. Let's go to this article here. All right. Once again, it says the law is not airtight. Trump may have a way out of NATO. It says in the wake of NATO skeptic President-elect Donald Trump's victory, backers of the alliance are taking comfort in a year-old U.S. law. One second. Gotta get onto the service roll, so I just gotta kind of pay attention real quick. It says in the wake of NATO skeptic President-elect Donald Trump's victory, backers of the alliance are taking comfort in a year-old U.S. law. All right, in a year-old U.S. law. All right, that says he can't withdraw unless Congress approves. But Trump may have a way around it, and it's a method he has used before. Right? It says in 2023, Senator Tim Kaine, Democrat from VA, said, is that Virginia? I believe. It says, and Marco Rubio, a Republican from Florida, authored legislation requiring that any presidential decision to exit NATO must have either 2/3 Senate approval or be authorized through an act of Congress. Lawmakers passed a measure as part of the fiscal 2024 National Defense Authorization Act, which President Joe Biden signed into law. Legal experts warn that Trump could try to sidestep Congress's NATO guardrail, citing presidential authority over foreign policy. an approach he has used before to bypass congressional restrictions on treaty withdrawal. You see, so pretty much Donald Trump is in the position, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, all right, to have that more stout look. As a matter of fact, let's get that real quick. He had a look that's more stout than his fellows. It's in the book of Daniel. All right, this is the book of Daniel, chapter 7. All right, verse 20. Let's start at verse 19. All right, let's just start at verse 19 here. It says, "Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast," and that fourth beast is talking about the Roman Empire. All right, it says, "which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass." And the teeth of iron and the nails of brass represents pretty much his military might. All right, and that in the fourth beast, the Roman Empire was diverse than any other beast due to the fact that it had a Congress, it had a Senate House, and people were pretty much elected. You didn't have it wasn't in a sense like a monarchy. It was pretty much like a democracy. It's pretty much what you see here going on today in America. This is how you know that this is a revival of the Roman Empire. And then America uses its military might to push forth foreign policy, which foreign policy is pretty much Habakkuk, the second chapter. He gathered together all nations and heapeth unto him all people. He uses his military to push forth foreign policy. All right, Jeremiah, the 51st chapter. Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. All right, and once they use their military to push forth this policy, all right, they pretty much topple over the government. All right, which is exactly what you see going on in Syria right now, which most of these Americans have no clue what the hell is going on. But this is the same thing that you see happening in Syria, same thing that happened in Iraq, same thing that happened in Yemen. Same thing that happened in Libya, same thing they did in Afghanistan. They'll use particular events, which are F flags, I'll put it like that. And then that'll justify them, in wickedness, that'll justify them to go into that nation and completely topple it. Set up a puppet ruler, all right, and you have pretty much American policy being pushed in that region of the earth. That's what they do. Okay? It says, which devoured, break in pieces and stamped the residue with his feet. Pretty much how the Roman Empire pretty much stomped everybody into subjection. All the nations round about into subjection. And when you look at a map of the Roman Empire, all right, it's literally the exact same regions of the EU today. All right, it says, and the EU is also known as the Treaty of Rome as well too. Okay, so it says, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, which that other horn which came up is talking about America, and before whom 3 fell, which was the Spanish, the French, and the British. All right, it says, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. And that's how you know this is for sure speaking about America, because America has a more stout look than all the rest of its allies, man. That's why America can proudly and boastfully talk about its military and boastfully go into another nation and completely just subjugate them. And the whole world won't have anything to say. They'll use the guise of peace and security, and there's a dictator here, and we gotta make sure that we take this quote unquote this dictator out of power, yada yada yada. Use that guise to completely just go in and subjugate people, man. And they've been doing that this whole time. That's why the scripture says, rid me from the violent man who's continually gathered together for war, for lack of better words. This is Psalm 140. Okay. It says, the law is not airtight, said Scott Anderson, a Brookings Institution scholar and senior editor of Lawfare, who has argued for firmer restrictions on a president leaving NATO. It says what it does. What it does do, he said, is set up a direct constitutional conflict with Congress if a president does try to withdraw. You see, so pretty much it's not, it pretty much cause issues if you have a president try to withdraw himself or withdraw their nation or country from NATO. You know, it says here, it says this is not, it says this is not open and shut. This is about Congress telling you you can't do this. And if you ignore Congress, you're going to have to fight us in courts over it. If Trump simply declared he was pulling out of the alliance, it's unclear whether Congress would have the legal standing to sue him for ignoring the law. According to Curtis Bradley, the Allen M. Singer Distinguished Service Professor at the University of Chicago Law School. The Supreme Court has generally held the institutional conflicts between the branches. Let me read that again. The Supreme Court has generally held that institutional conflicts between the branches are political questions best resolved through the political process rather than through judicial intervention, yada, yada, yada. Just trying to see if there's really anything else. And this is also an image of the beast here. This is a prime example of the image of the beast. You see how this infrastructure of the Supreme Court, what does it look like? It looks like ancient Rome. Okay? That's part of the scripture where it says that that the image should speak and live. This is part of the image. I'm not saying this is only the image here. This is part of it. You know, like that Roman infrastructure, man. Okay? Let's see. I'm just skimming over it here. Just give me 1 second. Let's see. Just bear with me. That's mainly it. Yeah, that's mainly it. I'm just, like I said, I was just skimming through to just see if there's anything else here. But, you know, like I said, that's mainly it. I pray this lesson was edifying. I didn't want to make it too long anyway. Once again, I pray it's edifying to the elect of Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua. And once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua B'Hashem Hakodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth, and that's what teaching this truth. And as always, much peace, love, and salutation.